is Friday, August 30th, I think, must be. And I'm getting ready for camp. I'm brushing up on my Al Stewart tunes. Some of you, I noticed somebody asked, somebody even suggested that one. That one happens to be called End of the Day. It's at the end of the Time Passages album, which is still sitting around here because I still will get around to this someday, I think. Anyway, and of course, Almost Lucy is from the same album. Anyhow, I have been practicing a lot, as I've mentioned over the last few weeks, because I got to gear up for playing along with Al. Okay, it's coming along. That's one of the hard ones. What's that called? Night Train to Munich. Anyway, but I'm here to tell you what's been going on this week. A lot of cool things, and a lot of neat things going on the forum that I want to talk about. I want to talk about Finger Squeak a little bit. I want to talk about Anton. Just got the news that, Willem, thanks for sharing that with us, but I hope all best goes out to Anton, and hope he can at least check in with us once in a while. Yeah, let's see, what else am I going to talk about? Camp, Squeak, Finger Squeak, song selection. I'm going to get to that probably. We'll see, because there were some great responses and great suggestions out there, and I really like what Lynn did. Well, I'll get back to all that. Let me go through what happened here first this week. No, let me tell you about the camp first, because one quick thing about the camp, I did send out an email to everybody that's registered for the camp. So if you are, if you didn't get one, PM me or something, and because I sent out just a little thing. Now we got to have a lot more details coming out probably next week. I'll have some other specific stuff happening, and thanks to everybody who volunteered to share a spot with, which let us work in a few more. Actually, just change the logistics. Didn't really add any more people, but we do have room now for a couple extra people because we've sort of opened up the Casa de Luz, which is we can probably put 6 or 8 people in there. So anyway, that's what's going on. So if you're last minute, don't worry. There can be, we can get you there, get you in. Let's see what now let's get to the songs. So started the week with one of my all-time favorite tunes of Al's, Almost Lucy, which, as I talk about in the lesson, can be done as a finger pickings tune, just a generic tune. I mean, generic finger picking. It doesn't really have anything specific you have to do in there. And the fun part about that lesson was I went into detail on stuff you can do as a second guitar part, because that's a song I will probably play with Al, along with a really obscure one. Let me see if I can fake my way through this. Okay, you guys got that one? Anyway, so Lucy, and then we have, of course, McCartney. Now, Paul has a really interesting hybrid style of strumming and picking and things like that. So as we've seen in Blackbird and a few other, that's probably the only 2 I've done that we really address that. So definitely got to do that song with your fingers and learn this hybrid style. So that's, of course, Mother Nature's son. And want to thank Vanessa for again coming up. I really like the whole idea of the Work It Out lesson, so thanks for putting together the Decemberists tune, Down by the Water, and anyway, that was very cool. So I hope good, easy ear training song. So you should be able to pick out certain chords you should be able to pick out a million miles away. This is one of them. That's got its own sound. So does that. These 2, a little bit more difficult. Well, anyway. Let's see, also went back in the archives because Sandy a long time ago worked on Bermuda Triangle Exit. But I wanted to have the lesson up before I put her Fly on the Wall up. So anyhow, found that one floating around in the archives last week and figured, you know what, it's time to do that. So let's see, what else? Oh, and then we have a new project. And yeah, I tried to put out as few clues as possible with our John Fahey song, In Christ There's No East or West. Learning grandfather's clock would be a big hint. So if you're having trouble with In Christ There Is No East or West, go take a look at the grandfather's clock lesson because, well, it goes like this. Done this in the lesson, I'm not sure, because then the first step in grandfather's clock that would work out like what we're trying to do with In Christ There's No East or West would sound something like this. Just block chords. Doesn't go like that. Okay, so that's it for the tunes. Let's see. I talked about the emails for the camp. So again, if you're signed up for the camp, you should have gotten an email from me that telling you about some of the things that are going on. So if you didn't, get a hold of me. What else was going on the forum? I want to thank the people that put up some cool videos. Or links to videos. The Joni Mitchell thing was very was pretty neat. I haven't seen the whole thing. I didn't see the whole thing yet. It was too long, but did get bits and pieces. And thanks for the link to the Pink Floyd thing too. I hope that was working for some people. I think that was Andy. Andy, good to see you again, man. Thanks for checking back in with cool info. Okay, let's see. Last few things I want to talk about. The song selection thing. Great requests from a relatively new member, asking for songs. And I think it's funny, when I saw those two songs, I thought we had done one of them, but then I remembered that our fly on the wall guest, Kevin, worked on a long time ago in color. And I guess I didn't shoot that lesson, or I didn't put it up, or something like that, because I figured maybe someday I'll get to it. But also, as some of our members pointed out, the picking in that is very similar to stuff that happens in lots of other songs, and the chord progression is pretty straightforward as well. So yeah, there definitely is enough info floating around in other lessons to be able to piece that one together. But I'll think about it. Maybe I'll come up with some more hints on it next week. This might be another one of our kind of work it out projects that like we did a while ago with, oh man, I can't remember what it was now, but I can see the guy. Anyhow. Okay, and last thing, finger squeak. Oh, which reminds me, I got to get out of here because I have a really important errand to run. This guitar needs some work. I got to have it done before camp, because listen to this. Hear that buzz? It's not supposed to sound like that. Hear how this note is much clearer? The 4th fret. My 3rd fret has got a divot in it on the B string at the 3rd fret that makes it sound a little not as pure as some of the other notes. Probably is not translating very well over the camera, but it's driving me nuts. So I either have to get the frets leveled, which files them all down, puts a new crown on them. I'm going to go over and see my buddy Keith Holland a little later today. And, well, actually, by the time you're seeing this, I will have probably already seen him, and I might already have a report. Okay, I'll have to work on that. But it might be time to replace the frets too. So believe it or not, every once in a while you have to replace the frets on the guitar, and I've probably replaced them on this about 3 or 4 times in the 8 or 9 years I've had them. Every couple of years I got to get new frets. Frets wear out. I think the last time I had it done, I had Ed do it because he almost did it while I waited. Well, took it over one day and had him fixed the next day. But anyway, so fret care is something that you need to think about with your guitar, and you can just take a look at especially the B string seems to be the main culprit in wearing frets out, and the E string as well, but B more. Anyway, and the finger squeak thing. There was a great mark, I think you hit the nail on the head right there, that the volume of the squeak is fixed, and if I play something, if I play it really softly, the squeak comes out really noticeably. If I play it loud, notice it. So a little more aggressive with the right hand to drive the guitar a little bit more will help. If it really, it also, and the suggestion from Dennis and a few other people is great. The coated strings make a really cut down on the squeaking sound. I'm not particularly fond of the sound of coated strings. I'm really fond of the sound of brand new strings, and these are brand old strings, and they don't squeak as much. But strings don't squeak as much. Well, you don't notice them as much. So, okay, is that it? What I want to get to today? I think so. Let me check my list. I got to get back to practicing. Oh, I told you that song was End of the Day, right? After that, it goes into a really cool lead. It has one of the most unusual chord progressions ever. Those chords just don't go together, but Al made them work. Anyhow, one of my favorite tunes of Al's. Oh, but you probably know, if you're an Al fan, you probably know that Al has written a lot of songs, co-written a lot of songs with a lot of his buddies, and that a lot of times they come up. Steve Recker was one who came up with a really cool tune that became known as the Ghostly Horses of the Plains. But much of his stuff, the cool guitar things, were written by his guitar player, or started by his guitar player, Peter White, at the time. So Peter came up, and you probably know Peter White from the smooth jazz world now too. He's doing really popular out in that style. Al and Peter played a reunion concert a couple of years ago near here in Carmel Valley. There's some cool videos out there on YouTube. Check them out, of Al and Peter talking about, I think it was even like backstage or the afternoon of the show, and they weren't even sure what they were going to do, but it was neat. So okay, all of a sudden Chicago's in my head. I do have one more thing to tell you. Again, we need a little bit of patience with everything that's going on here, because we are going through a lot of changes. We are not finally, but as you know, our website has gotten very complicated, and we are trying to make everything work. So bear with us, as Matt pointed out. I miss Matt. Man, get back on the forum, buddy. Come visit me. We will see him at camp in a couple weeks, so I hope. He says he's going to be there. Anyway, we are tweaking. This is more than tweaking. It's major. We're trying to fix all kinds of stuff, and so it's one of these pardon our dust kind of deals. But it should all be settling down over the next short period of time. I don't know if that's a day or two or a week or two, but okay. That song just ran in my head. Okay, enough Fleetwood Mac. Let's get out of here. See you next week. Have a good, it's a holiday weekend out here in the United States, Labor Day weekend. Hope everybody gets a chance to relax, watch a little tennis, the US Open going on in New York. Okay, see you next week.